everyone, it's me, Dee. I'm back for another art class with you. So thank you so much for those of you that joined in last week and for those of you that missed the live session but caught up on it during the week. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I had lots of fun doing the collage. And thank you for those of you who sent me your finished artworks. I love seeing them, so thank you. I love sharing. So if any of you did miss any of the previous art classes and you'd like to catch up on them, then you can just scroll down on my feed in my Facebook page and you'll be able to catch up on them there because they'll remain there for you to look and create. So what we're doing today is we're going to be doing some printmaking. Now, many of you probably haven't done printmaking before, and some of you are probably thinking, oh, I can't really do printmaking without the correct equipment. But I'm going to show you a way that you can do printmaking just with basic materials that you'll have at home, more than likely. So what you're going to need today is you're going to need a pen, and you are going to need some coloured markers, some washable coloured markers. So not permanent markers, washable ones. And you are also going to need paper. I'm just using normal printer paper, so you'll be able to find that easily enough. You are also going to need, where is it? Some wet paper towel. Or if you have a spray mister bottle, then you can use one of those just with water in it. And you're also going to need foam. Now the sort of foam that you can use is you can use foam from the bottom of meat trays or pasta trays, pasta packs. So you're just going to make sure that you wash it really, really well. You want to make sure that there's no food residue or anything on there. So make sure that's really washed well. And also maybe an adult, or you can cut off the curved edges because they'll just get in your way. So you want a nice flat piece to work with. So I've got some flat foam here. I've also got some foam here as well, which is out of some packaging from a heater that I just bought. So you can, again, get an adult to maybe use a sharp blade to cut off a piece of flat, smooth foam for you to use. So I'm going to start by drawing my design on here, and I'm just going to do, maybe I'm going to do a birdhouse. You don't have to press real hard. You'll find that if you use the foam from the meat or the pasta trays, you will actually get a slight indentation, and it's a little bit easier to draw on than the foam that you find in the packaging with electrical items that you might buy from a shop. Okay, now we're going to do the sides of my birdhouse and the base and a stand, and we might give it a little round hole where the bird can go in, a little perch, and we might give it some stripes. Maybe make it look kind of like a weatherboard house, but for birds. Straight across. Now we might do my bird on top. So you can see that using the pen, you can actually see where your lines are. You can use a pencil as well, but it's probably a little bit harder to see where your lines are. But this isn't going to. I'll show you so far. So there is my birdhouse and my bird. And I might just do a little sun. No corner sun, so don't have them going off the page. Make sure you use a full circle. See my circle? No corner suns up here. Have a full circle, and we'll give it some lovely sun rays coming out from our sun. Right around, they can go off the page. And now we might give our clouds are basically just going to look like flowers, only they're a bit longer, they're not as round. And another one coming off the edge here. And another one coming in here. Nearly up to the good bit. Okay, there's my finished drawing. So there's my design. Now for the fun bit. Fun bit is colouring with the markers. I might just wipe this down a little bit with a damp cloth because I was finding that this particular foam had a little bit of a residue on it, so a little bit of a film that didn't allow the markers to sit on there as well as what I wanted them to. Okay, we'll see how we go with this one. Okay, let that dry. Okay, that should be dry enough. Now, colouring with markers, the colour isn't going to look as strong or as intense or as bright as what it will if you colour on paper. I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. So this one, you can see how bright it looks there. And then if I colour on here, it's not going to appear as bright, but don't worry about it, okay? So you can see how much lighter it looks. Don't worry about it because it will end up looking okay in the end, okay? Trust me, okay? Trust me. Okay, so I'm going to colour in. Now, where you've got the grooves from your drawing, that will actually leave a slight white line around your colours. So it's kind of going to outline your shapes with white, which will be pretty cool. Now, you'll notice that you can barely see that yellow. Okay, colours are looking quite faint, but believe me, they are there. Just add a little bit of red to the edges of my rays. Now you notice that I've got different types of markers here. They all work quite well, okay? You're just going to try them out. I did try some other markers which didn't work as well, but then I tried them on paper and they actually just didn't work well anyway. So that might have been my issue. But these ones work pretty well. Okay, we might give him an orange beak. Now we might go green for my birdhouse. Now I'm going to have my birdhouse kind of two-tone, but you'll notice that what I'm doing, I'll show you. You'll notice that what I'm doing is I'm adding dark green just below each line. I'll show you what I'm doing with that in a sec. Just below. So I'm not filling in that whole shape with this one colour. Just adding colour below the line. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a lighter green. There it is. I'm going to add that to the bottom part. And I'm just going to have my marker going slightly into where the dark coloured green is, so that the two colours kind of blend together. I'll show you in a sec. These two greens I notice actually make really nice colour when they're blended together. That darker green has more of a blue tinge to it, whereas this lighter green has more of a yellow tinge to it. So you can get different coloured greens. Oops, I'll do that last one. Okay, so you can see how they've started to blend together. Now I'm just going to add this light green for the roof. And I'm going to do the dark green for the stand. Purple eye. Why not? Who doesn't love a purple eye? Purple for the hole where the bird goes in. Purple perch. Now I'm going to do, which blue? Might use dark blue for the background. Decisions, guys. Okay, and I'm just going to colour straight over those legs. We'll see what happens when we print it. Oops. Try not to, because it doesn't dry completely. Oops. Because it doesn't dry completely on the foam. What you might want to do is just turn the foam around as you're colouring so that your hand's not resting on your actual artwork. Okay, so turn it around as you're working. Otherwise you might rub the colour off, you might smudge it into another colour, or you might just end up with a messy hand. Now you notice that while I am working, like this week and the last few weeks, I actually have a board underneath my artwork. Just helps to keep the table a bit cleaner. Okay, a bit more. Now I've also made sure that I've left some white on my page. A little bit of white left in your artwork always helps to lift it and makes it look a little bit more special and a bit brighter. So you can see that I've left the white for the clouds. And I've also, something that maybe not all of you do, is I've also taken the sky all the way down to the bottom. I haven't just coloured the sky up the top, because the sky actually goes right down to where the ground is. If you look outside, or when you're next going for a walk, have a look at the sky and then go down to where you can see buildings in the distance, or hills or trees, and you'll see that the sky goes all the way. So you can actually colour blue all the way down to where the rest of your drawing starts. Rightio, nearly done. Now you'll see that I'm even colouring in different directions, which I don't normally do. I normally just colour all in the one direction. But this time it doesn't matter as much. You'll notice when we print from this why it doesn't matter as much. You actually don't notice my colouring lines once it's printed, because it all sort of blends together. Now, I need to remember to tell you something very important about printmaking shortly when we print this image. Okay, done. Okay, there is my foam completely coloured. Now for the exciting bit. Okay, I'm going to grab some paper. This paper, because I've done a small image for printing, I'm choosing to use a smaller piece of paper. This is half an A4 sheet together. They make A4, which is your normal printer paper. And I've cut it in half, so now we end up with A5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my wet paper towel and I'm going to wipe it onto my paper. Wipe it on there. You don't want it soggy, but you want it so that it's wet right across. And I know you're not going to be able to see it, but you might see it glistening. You can see it, yep, you can see the reflection. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to carefully put it down here so it doesn't move. And we're going to press down. Press down. Make sure it's even, make sure you get the edges, make sure you get the middle. See how I'm keeping one hand on there while I'm pressing down with the other one? That's to make sure that my paper doesn't move. Because if it moves while I'm doing this, then we'll end up with a strange image, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not what I'm going for today. So just pressing around. I would rub, but because the paper's wet, I'm worried that it might actually... Oh, hello Alicia, hello Sienna. So lovely to see you girls. Well, I can't see you, but nice that you can see me. Okay, so pressing around. Okay, now for the big reveal. I need someone to do a drum roll on their lap. Okay, I'm gonna peel it off. I'll let you guys see first. Wow! Look at that. There's my print. And it came out pretty well. So you can see that even though the colour looked quite light on the foam, it actually comes out quite dark and bright on the artwork. So now what you can do is you can just put that aside to dry. And the awesome thing about printmaking with this foam is I might grab my dirty one. That's why this is so dirty, this bit of paper towel, because I've been using it to wipe down my foam between prints. So I'm going to wipe this down. Not too much water because you don't want it soggy. I'm wiping it down. And now I'm just, if I let it dry, then guess what? You can do another one. Okay? So what you can do is just allow it to dry a bit, wave it around, put it in the sun. Now you do need to be careful with the foam because it does break really easily, okay? So just allow it to dry and then you can colour again. Oh, and the important thing I need to tell you is, I wonder if you guys can notice anything that might be different between these two images. Anything different? They're very similar, but there's something different. You'll notice that this is actually in reverse to my drawing. So you can see on my foam, I've got the sun on the left-hand side, and when printed, it ends up on the right-hand side. So if you're doing any writing on there, you need to write it backwards, which is a challenge, but you need to write it backwards, okay? Otherwise, you'll have to read it backwards off your final print. So you can get heaps and heaps of prints off of this one piece of foam, okay? Yes, they are back to front. So off this one piece of foam, you can keep on printing. So you can make cards if you want to, maybe even for Mother's Day. Or you can maybe try it on coloured paper, or you could maybe try it with a newspaper background, try printing on newspaper. You can try other colours on here. You can maybe do other patterns, and you can even add more detail. So I could grab my pen and I can add more detail to this now and then do some more prints. Now I'm just going to show you another one that I did. This is a piece of packaging off of my heater. Okay, so I did a rainbow drawing on there, and there is my rainbow picture. Okay, so there's another one that you can do. This one's still drying. Others that I did yesterday, this one you can see I did a similar one yesterday. You can see that this actually moved. Can you see how it's got like two roofs coming out there, and it's all a bit blurry down here? An extra bit down there, so you can see what happens if you're not careful and press them down really well, okay? If you do have a little spray bottle that mists water, you can actually use this. So when you've coloured in your foam, maybe pop it onto some paper towel so you don't end up with water everywhere. Spray it, and then instead of wetting your paper, you just place it straight on top, okay? And then again, rub down. What you do end up with doing it that way though is more of a mottled look, which is pretty cool though. Looks almost like it's tie-dyed, which I quite like, or petite, which again I quite like. So yeah, it just gives you a different effect. So that's the awesome stuff that you can do with foam and printmaking. So just normal coloured markers, ones that are washable, bit of water on a paper towel, some printer paper and some foam packaging, and you'll be good to go. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I'm really excited. So I hope you share with me. Another one that I've got here is I was going to do is one that says Mum, where I've replaced the the U with a lovely heart because it is Mother's Day this Sunday. So anyone out there looking for a special art activity to do for their mum, because I know all mums love special artworks from their kids, especially when it shows them how much they love them, then this might be a good idea for you. Okay, so I hope you guys have lots of fun, and I'll see you next week. Bye.